Okay, so we're constantly hearing terms like frequency, vibration, and resonance. So much so that I feel like they've lost their meaning. But if we really start to dig into how life works on an energetical level, on a physics level, we can start to harness these things and really start to manipulate reality in our favor and really do it in the most effortless way possible. And that's what we're going to talk about today: creating reality with resonance. And first, we got to look at tuning forks. Tuning forks are pretty cool because they show how energy is transferred in waves. It's transferred in an unseen way. But you got two tuning forks, they're both set at the same frequency. You ping one, and the other one starts to vibrate. And when these waves they start to sync up, that is really where the magic happens. This is also why we vibe with certain people or certain ideas or certain things. The frequencies are matching and it creates this like energetic tie between the two things. This is why when we hear someone say something and it like strikes a chord within us, right? It resonates with our heart. This is why minds can sync up, brain waves can sync up, and you can start to experience telepathy and things like that. But the magic that happens when these waves sync up, or these energies sync up, is that they amplify each other. So you got wave one in red, wave two in green. They're the same, they're coherent. The result is more energy, more power with no extra effort, which in physics is known as standing waves. You can see this sometimes in the ocean. Two waves, they combine, they come together, and they create an even bigger wave. Sometimes waves will go against each other and clash and hurt the energy of the wave. So we know that matching vibrations is the key to create resonance and more energy. Okay. Now, how does that relate to us? What we have to start realizing is that when we imagine something, any thought that we have, it has now become real on some dimension. It exists in a higher form. If you can imagine a scene, it exists out there in space time. Whether you get to live it or not is another matter, and that's what we're going to talk about. That thought that you had, or that vision that you had, it takes a little bit. There's a lag time before it shows itself in physical reality, but it eventually will, especially if it's a repeated thought or a repeated vision. So when it comes to manifestation, we're kind of missing the point. We're trying to do all this stuff outside of ourselves, pushing and pushing towards the goals that we want, towards the life that we desire. But we're missing the most important thing, that we don't really get what we want in life, but we get what we are. What we are is reflected in physical reality. So that vision that you have for your future, all that's different is that what you are now is not who you need to be to really live in that vision of yourself. The vibrations are not matching up. And to match its frequency really means you become the emotional, mental, energetic expression of that reality before it physically arrives. Basically, you have to believe it, you have to become it, then you'll see it. Power of your perception, right? I say it in like every single video. When you change the way you look at something, that thing changes. It really is as simple as that. You know, you get what you are. To attract love, you first have to love yourself or be able to give love. To become abundant, you have to embody abundance. You have to see the abundance that is already there in your everyday life. And yeah, it's super hard to do that, right? But that is the key. You got to attune your thoughts and emotions and your beliefs and your identity to that future version of yourself. What emotions would you regularly experience as the most actualized version of yourself or that ideal future, whatever vision that you have? What signal do you need to send out in life? You'll see the expansive emotions from neutrality up versus the contracted emotions that keep us stuck, that keep us holding on and controlling and trying to force our will and all that. We can really create any of these emotions no matter what is going on in our outside life. And that is like self mastery at its peak. Being able to create any emotion that you want on command. state control, inner state control. It is possible just by shifting how you look at your life. And the moment that you decide to set an intention, to actually commit to being the best version of yourself, to commit to this goal or desire that you have, you start to send out these waves, right, to that future vision of your reality. You actually have something to attune to. When you have a very powerful intention, some cool things happen in your mind. Intention basically activates the mind's internal guidance system to start to find vibrational matches to whatever it's focused on. And so we talked about the reticular activating system in, I don't know, some other video, but that's how our brain filters reality. You know, it's like we get a red car and we start seeing red cars everywhere. You set an intention, your brain is going to filter out things for you to look at that align with that intention. Once you decide what you're looking for, your subconscious starts to spot it everywhere. And then once we set our intention, we have to create our lives in a way that resonates with that future. And so we don't do this by spending all this effort and energy forcing physical action. We gotta make some shifts at the root level. We have to start with our identity, shifting our identity. It's gotta be the same as that future vision, even if we are nowhere near it right now. We have to align our identity with who we must become to live in that future. And this is where a visualization really helps, because you can fast forward and really feel the visualization. How do you feel in that version of yourself? What do you consistently do? How do you respond to stress and fear? What kind of emotions do you produce? And this is not pretending or, faking it till you make it. It's embodying that state, the state that would naturally produce the outcome that you want. First, we set our identity, which affects our thoughts and feelings, and it affects the actions that we take, and then that manipulates our results. When we have a goal, we got to start at the root. Who are you and who do you have to become? And I feel like we really underestimate our ability to create our future in every single little moment throughout the day. Every single little decision or thought or little change. And so just being in that higher state, in the future you, has a real ripple effect on reality, even if you're not taking physical action. But then your actions will be aligned with the identity that you set, and they will be not forced. They will be more effortless. And that's where we start to get the resonance, right? Things start to resonate, and more energy, more power gets produced. And so I thought this little 4-step thing was cool. First, decide you're ready for change and why you want to actually do it. Get clear on what you want to experience and what you don't want. We're going to get into that in a second. Who is the person who lives that reality? And then start to embody the identity of this person. Thoughts, beliefs, energy, self-image, skills, choices, and actions. And so we're looking for alignment, right? We don't necessarily have to add all of these things. We might have to add some new habits, but really, we have to subtract a lot of shit. You don't have to, again, spend all this effort in becoming more. You can, there's a balance to it. Well, really, you have to start removing the blockages that you have, looking at your limiting beliefs, looking at the ways that you're leaking energy throughout the day, mental and physical, getting rid of distractions, things that don't serve you. And so, getting rid of all this bullshit will help to start to raise your vibration to your future reality and create some resonance there. We've all experienced times in our life where things are firing on all cylinders. Things are just clicking. So we're building the alignment, we're building the attunement. And finally, we got to detach from everything, all right? You can't actually have something or receive something if you are constantly feeling like you need it. You will just find ways to confirm that you don't have that thing. So, neutrality here. The cool if it happens, cool if it doesn't mentality. Surrendering the need to have it. And we talked about in the last video how that makes you magnetic. Detachment opens the channel for everything that you want to come to you. And stop resisting and trying to change things all the time. And, oh, we want it faster. We want it in a certain way. Let it happen in the most natural way possible. And I'm going to end with this great post. The harder you chase your goals, the further away they get. I know it sounds backwards, but think about it. When you're desperately trying to manifest something, what energy are you operating from? Need, lack, the feeling that you don't have it yet. And if feeling is the secret, feeling and being and feeling into that future you, then you're programming your subconscious with, I don't have this thing I want. The more I obsessed over my goals, checked for progress, and tried to force outcomes, the more stuck I became. And I was unknowingly pushing away everything I wanted. And so we're going to get clear with what we want. We're going to set our intentions. We're going to visualize and feel into those intentions and decide who do we need to become to pull that future into the now. And then we're going to design our life in a way that reflects that. Then we're going to start to amplify everything that we think, everything that we do. It's all going to be in sync. And then finally, we're going to detach from it. We don't need it. We're happy with everything that we got. And with time, we're going to pull that future reality towards us. So I think that video was probably a little longer than I wanted, but let me know what you think. Leave me some comments, subscribe to support the channel. Thanks for watching. See ya.